This is Dead Man's Cove on Portland in Dorset, and it's called Dead Man's Cove for a reason. Things tend to get washed up here. There's nothing too gruesome around me today, but it was a different story on the morning of the 23rd November 1824. The night before, people had gone to sleep as normal, but overnight a terrific storm brewed up, and the gale hit the south coast of England. Huge waves crashed over the pebble wall of Chesil Beach, destroying the village of Chesil. Houses were swept away, more than 20 people were killed. And here in Dead Man's Cove, more than a dozen bodies were washed up from the Colville which had been wrecked 15 miles along the coast at West Bay. The worst we've ever found here is a dead sheep. I expect there were a few of those as well. In the days that followed, even more bodies were washed up along here. More than 100 people were killed in the Great Storm.
We have rarely had a more melancholy duty to perform than the recital of the tremendous effects of the gale of Monday night last. Sherborne and Yeovil Mercury, 29th of November, 1824.
I'm in the graveyard of St George's Church on Portland, which, by the way, is a gorgeous Georgian church with box pews and all. And here is the gravestone that relates to one of the people who died in the storm of November the 23rd, 1824. Sacred to the memory of William Hansford, aged 61 years, who was killed on the 23rd of November, 1824, by the sea overflowing the village of Chesil. His leg was broken in attempting to make his escape. Afterwards, the house fell on him. Poor Mr. Hansford. There are probably other graves here that relate to people who died that night, because over 20 people were killed in Chesil when the water swept over Chesil Beach and destroyed the village.
The destruction of lives and property at Chesil, Portland Island, Dorset has been most dreadful. About 20 men, women and children were found dead and missing, and more than 200 persons were without a habitation. Whole streets were swept away in less than half an hour from the time the sea first made in, and the cries of despair and suffering of the poor unfortunates upon whom the houses were falling was dreadful. Gentleman's Magazine, December 1824.
Ever since the days of George III, when he visited Weymouth, the Esplanade has been a popular place for people to walk, enjoy views of the sea. But the Esplanade that George III would have seen was swept away in the Great Storm of 1824. Sea levels rose and the gale swept the water right over the Esplanade, destroying it, sweeping up, pulling up the stone posts and taking loads of sand into the buildings that you see behind me. The water level was such that a boy was drowned just trying to cross the road, and in the bay, ships were wrecked.
Weymouth. The gale commenced its devastation here at about 4 o'clock in the morning. The Esplanade was destroyed. The lower apartments of the houses were speedily filled with water, and boats were seen floating in all directions. The effects on the shipping was, as may be anticipated, calamitous in the extreme. The Louisa Smack of Exeter is totally lost. Codner, the master, is saved. 2 men drowned. The Sally Smack of Portsmouth was lost nearly opposite Osmington Mills. The captain's son saved himself by leaping on board the Nancy brig of Weymouth. The rest of the crew were drowned. A large vessel of 500 tons burthen, name unknown, went down, and the whole crew perished. Sherborne and Yeovil Mercury, 29th of November 1824.
When the Esplanade was rebuilt, this stone was put up as a marker commemorating the Great Storm. It's seen better days and it's now actually quite hard to read. It says the Esplanade destroyed by a tempest November 23rd, 1824, but it is being weathered, and I expect at one point we will not be able to read it at all.